Introducing our next giveaway car, this 1991 Nissan 300ZX Twin Turbo. Getting back to our roots, I'm here at the original ZX connection that then later became Z1 Motorsports in Temple, Georgia. And Russell Floyd, our founder, he had a love for 300ZXs, specifically the Twin Turbo. And as he was a college student going to Georgia Tech, he had the opportunity to buy one that had been wrecked. I think he bought another one and used the two cars to make one drivable car. And as time continued, Russell started being interactive in the forums and the groups online at the time and found an opportunity to sell used 300ZX parts. And he started to buy these parts and sell them. ZX Connection was born. As Z1 evolved from ZX Connection to Z1 Motorsports, we quickly evolved from selling used parts to performance parts. And using Russell's background as an engineer and many other team members that joined Z1 that have an engineering background, Z1 began to sell many performance parts that we had designed and engineered in-house, ultimately paving the way for Z1 Motorsports to be the industry leader in Nissan and Infiniti parts and performance. I think it's safe to say that Z1 Motorsports has the largest collection of 300ZX used parts in the world. As you can see here, we have chassis, body components, interior components, engines, drivetrains, wheels, all kinds of parts for these cars that we still sell as used parts on our website today. With all of that knowledge and experience being the core foundation to Z1 Motorsports, we thought that there would be no better car to give away than this 300ZX Twin Turbo. It's the car that started it all. It's the reason why we're in business and why we get to do what we love every day, working with Z cars. We have some really exciting plans for this car. It's currently very much stock, very much original, but we're gonna go ahead and jump in, take it for a ride, and talk about some of the exciting plans we have in store for this particular Z32. So at this point, the 300ZX Twin Turbo, well, just the Z32 in general, regardless if you're talking twin turbo or naturally aspirated, has been on the road for well over 30 years. And I think part of the reason why the Z32 is so significant, not just to Z1, but just to car enthusiasts in general, is it was really far ahead of its time. The car went on sale in 1989 as a 1990 model, the Z32 did, and if you think about all the things that are included in this car, specifically in the Twin Turbo, that you got in 1990, it's pretty significant. And I mean, as I get out here on the road and start driving and shifting through the gears, this car still feels, it doesn't feel like a 30-year-old car to me. And it's all about the driver. I look at the gauges here, they're in front of me. Everything is literally, I can touch with my hands on the steering wheel, whether it's the cruise control or the fog lights or the automatic climate control. Not a lot of cars had automatic climate control in the early 90s, unless you were talking a very high-end car. And for that matter, the 300ZX was a very high-end car in the early 90s. The window sticker, which we still have for this car, I took a lot of time trying to find the right 300ZX that we were going to use to give away. We wanted to find just the right one. And this car new in 1991 sold for, I think it was right around $36,000. And $36,000 in 1991 in today's money, if you factor in inflation, was over $80,000 in today's money. So the 300ZX, there's a lot of cool turbo cars in the 90s. You had the RX-7, you had the 3000 GT VR4, the Supra, the Mark IV Supra, all of those cars that were really popular in the 90s. The 300ZX Twin Turbo, the Z32 specifically, was it was the first one. It came out in 1989, and it was on the market for 3 or 4 years before the Mark IV Super came out, and it was an extremely popular car. This was kind of like the R35 GTR of today back then. Twin turbo, 4-wheel steering, all of the electronics and the electronically controlled suspension, very high tech for the time. I found this car on an online auction. I think it's had 2 owners before Z1 picked it up. It's a 1991 Aztec Red Twin Turbo, and it has currently 41,646 miles on the odometer, so it's still a spring chicken in that regard. The interior is immaculate, it's extremely clean, the paint is very clean. This car is just about as minty as you can get for a 30-plus-year-old 90s turbo car. Certainly a car that if I were in the market for one myself would have been high on my list. Very much a blank slate. It doesn't have any modifications with the exception of some wheels and an exhaust. Outside of that, this car is very much stock and original. So as far as this car is concerned, again, it is very much in original condition for the most part, with the exception of just a couple of very minor things. We're going to keep it very much kind of OEM plus. We do plan to do turbos and exhaust and bigger brakes. We're going to improve or update the suspension a little bit. And before we do all of those things, we're going to go through this car and make sure that it is up to snuff from a maintenance standpoint. That is one of the big things that makes Z1 so unique, is not only do we sell and make a lot of performance parts for Nissans and Infinitis, but we also stock and sell a great deal amount of OEM replacement parts. So to do this car, it's fair justice. With 41,000 miles, just over 41,000 miles on the odometer, so that we're going to go through and do the 120,000 mile service on this car. But the one thing that I have noticed as I've been driving it this morning is that the shifter bushings are gone. It's very loose in the shifter. So we'll go through and update some of those. We'll probably put our Z1 short throw shifter in. But we're excited to get started on this promotion, so you'll have to follow along. Make sure you like and subscribe our channels, YouTube specifically, and Instagram is going to be where a lot of our build updates go with this promotion. I haven't really gotten into this car as much as we've been driving it, but it's fun to feel those turbos. Man, this is the type of car that just puts a smile on your face. You can jump in, hit the key, go find some nice twisty roads. There's not many cars, too, that I think are as 90s. This car is the 90s. I mean, you've got twin turbos, a manual transmission, 4-wheel steering, T-tops. What's there not to love?